This is episode number 63, entitled Positive Portfolio.
Are you a woman of faith who is struggling to navigate your current season of life? Do you feel like life is just happening to you instead of for you? My name is Jill Pack. I'm a certified life coach and a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And I want you to know that no matter your season or circumstance, it is possible to create a more joyful life. And I would love to show you how. Are you ready? Let's go.
Hello, my friends. Welcome to the Seasons of Joy podcast. I am so glad you're here. This episode is a little bit late this week as we are adjusting to our new summer schedule. I am excited that it is beginning to look and feel like summer, and I love it. So bring it on. That's what I say. But I'm looking forward to talking about today's topic, which is positive portfolios. Last week, I talked about this idea of faith building. When we notice feelings of fear increasing, instead of focusing on reducing the fear, we can actually work on increasing or building our faith. And I wanted to build on that concept a little bit today with another concept that positive psychology refers to as a positive portfolio, which I will explain in more detail in a little bit. In one of the articles that I was reading about this, it stated that a key ingredient in human flourishing is our ability to experience positive emotion. When we resist, react, or avoid our negative emotions, we are actually creating more negative emotion, which causes us to suffer. It also reduces our ability to experience positive emotion. So, for example, let's say I'm feeling hurt by something my husband said because I'm believing that he doesn't care about what I think. So, from my thoughts and the feeling of hurt, I react to this situation by yelling and then by giving him the silent treatment, right? And then this may feed into feelings of anger and resentment, and then I may withdraw and disengage. And after some time, I might start thinking that I shouldn't have acted that way and that I'm a terrible person, which leads me to feel ashamed about all of it. So can you see the layers of negative emotion that I would be creating in this scenario? Hurt, anger, resentment, and shame take up space that could be used for other emotions that would feel better and better serve me. Again, the emotions of hurt, anger, resentment, or shame aren't wrong. They don't define us, but they create an experience that we probably don't love. What we focus on expands. So by reacting in a circumstance like the one I just talked about, we are focusing on how much we don't want negative emotion. And the more negative emotion we create, which is the opposite of flourishing. How we handle our negative emotions does affect our well-being. Now, I've talked about the power of processing our emotions in previous podcast episodes. Understanding this skill and putting it into practice truly can become your superpower. However, for today's discussion, I'm not going to be talking about processing emotions. If you want to learn more about that and you haven't listened to my past episodes on that, I would invite you to listen to episode number 2, number 7, 41, 50, or 58 of this podcast to learn more about that concept of processing emotion. So I want to go back to the word flourishing. What does flourishing even mean? I believe that flourishing is about thriving, right? It's not about just surviving in our life. Flourishing means improved well-being. It's the way we view ourselves and our lives. Many people think of our wellness in terms of our physical and mental health. And other people believe that it's the absence of struggles in their life. Yet it's so much more than any of that. Well being is a state of being comfortable, healthy, satisfied, and happy. It is often associated with a balanced, fulfilling life. In an article that I was reading, they talked about how the research shows that increased well being not only feels better, but it benefits us in so many ways. And it listed all these ways: better work performance, more satisfying relationships, more cooperative, stronger immune systems, better physical health. We live longer. We have reduced cardiovascular mortality. We have fewer sleep problems, lower levels of burnout, greater self control. We're better able to self regulate, and we have greater and better coping abilities and skills. And we're more social. And the other thing I found that was interesting is the research also identified optimism as one of the key contributors to our well being. Studies show that optimism brings many benefits compared to that of pessimism. Things like less depression and anxiety, better performance at school or work or sports. We have a reduced risk of dropping out of things like school. We have better physical health outcomes, including fewer reported illnesses, less coronary heart disease, a lower mortality risk, and faster recovery from surgery. So when we can focus on improving our well-being, we know not only impact the quality of our lives, but we also have greater positive influence in the world around us. Now, there are many opinions on what areas of life comprise our well-being, right? What does well-being encompass? And as I was researching this, I found that it could include anywhere from 4 to 9 categories, such as physical, emotional, financial, spiritual, social, career, intellectual, creative, environmental. It doesn't matter whether we use 4 or 20 categories to describe our well-being. The thing we want to do is find those areas that align with us and how we measure our well-being. So once you have decided on the components of your life, then you can start improving your overall well-being. One model that I do love is called the Perma Plus theory of well-being. It's a model that was developed by American positive psychologist Martin Seligman. This model identifies 5 essential elements for a flourishing life. P stands for positive emotion, E stands for engagement, R stands for relationships, M stands for meaning, and A stands for accomplishments. And the plus often includes the physical well-being. I wanted to give a brief description of the 5 elements of the PERMA model based on what I have learned. So the first one, positive emotion. Within certain limits, we can increase our positive emotion about the past. That can be done by cultivating feelings of gratitude and forgiveness, right? We can increase our positive emotion about the present by allowing ourselves to savor physical pleasures and engaging in mindfulness and intentional practices such as meditation. We can also increase our positive emotion about our future, such as by building hope and optimism. So our ability to experience positive emotions is influenced by things such as our past experiences, our parents, our beliefs, right? Those things make up the lens through which we view life. And this can affect our ability to experience positive emotion. Our emotions also fluctuate in what is called an emotional range. Some people experience a wide emotional range, right? They have high highs and low lows, while other people experience a smaller emotional range. They're more moderate, and each person has their own individual emotional range. E, so engagement, the next component. Engagement is an experience in which someone fully uses and engages their skills, their strengths, their capabilities, their attention for a challenging task. This experience is so gratifying that people do the task for its own sake rather than what they will get out of it. The activity is their reward, right? A person's ability, their concentration and focus are absorbed into the moment. Self-awareness disappears and the perception of time is altered. Now, this can happen in all kinds of activities. So, for example, in a good conversation or building something or fixing something, gardening, creating, right? Reading a book, writing, um, participating in sports or a performance. There's many ways we can engage as part of our well-being. The third element or component is relationships. Relationships are fundamental to our well-being. The experiences that contribute to well-being are often amplified through our relationships. So, for example, joy, meaning, laughter, a feeling and sense of belonging, pride in our accomplishments, connection, right? Connection to others give life purpose and meaning. Research shows that service for others produce an increase in our well-being. Relationships increase our well-being. We were divinely designed as social beings with a desire to belong and to connect. This drive to connect with and serve others also promotes our survival. That's part of how we were designed as well. So developing strong relationships is central in our ability to adapt in situation and is enabled by our capacity for love, passion, kindness, empathy, teamwork, cooperation, things like that, right? The fourth component is meaning. A sense of meaning and purpose can come from belonging to and serving something bigger than ourselves. Society provides opportunities for a sense of meaning through things such as religion, through our family, science, politics, work, justice, community, and social causes, right? All those things help us create a sense of meaning and purpose and belonging. The final component of the PERMA model is accomplishment. Accomplishment. People pursue accomplishment, right? We want to achieve. We pursue competence and success. We seek growth and development and mastery for its own sake. So, for example, in the workplace or sports or games or hobbies, any of those things, people pursue accomplishment, even though it doesn't necessarily lead to a positive emotion, meaning, or relationships. So, as you can see, each of these areas or components or elements contribute to our overall well being, but they're each pursued for their own sake, not as a means to an end. They are also defined and measured independently of the other elements. Understanding these elements and how they contribute to flourishing can help you make more informed and intentional choices that are aligned with your personal values. So for this discussion, I only want to focus on the first element, which is positive emotion. I think that I invite you to look up the PERMA model. It's fascinating to learn and understand. But I wanted to focus on that first piece, positive emotion. I found this component of the PERMA model fascinating as I continue to learn about the power of our emotions in creating a life we love. Dr. Barbara Fredrickson, who is a positive psychologist, believes that intentionally creating and cultivating positive emotions contributes to our well being. Now, think about that for a minute. Creating and cultivating positive emotions on purpose contributes to our well being. This practice helps us to expand our thinking and our emotional and action behavioral patterns, which ultimately create our desired life experience. So, how can we intentionally create and cultivate positive emotions? So, I want to share with you 3 different ways that you can do that. The first way is something that I use with my clients called the top 3 emotions. And the idea behind that is to identify the 3 emotions that you typically operate from on a regular basis. Once these emotions are identified, it's time to get curious. How do these emotions feel in your body? Do you want to change any one of these emotions to one that will feel and serve you better? Now, the goal isn't to only operate from positive emotions. The goal is to find the balance of positive and negative emotions that feels good to you, that helps you create a life you love and increased and improved well being. So, for example, at one time, my top 3 emotions were gratitude, frustration, and determination. I wanted to keep the feeling of gratitude. I love how gratitude feels, and it keeps things in perspective for me. And I also wanted to keep the feeling of determination. Now, determination doesn't feel great, but it moves me towards my dreams and my goals. I am willing to feel uncomfortable in order to create a life I love. But I did want to change the feeling of frustration because I was stuck in a negative pattern that wasn't serving me or helping my overall well being. So over time, I've been able to change my emotional pattern from frustration to curiosity. Curiosity serves me so much better. Now, this doesn't mean I never feel frustrated. Of course, I do, but I no longer live in frustration. The next step in this exercise is then to explore the thoughts that will create that desired emotion. As you understand and experience how an emotion feels in your body, you're better able to find the thoughts that will create it. So for me, the thought that has helped me get to curiosity instead of frustration is that's interesting. It's simple, but it's my cue to get curious so that I can show up in my life intentionally and more of the person I want to be. It allows me to use my agency to act instead of being acted upon. And it helps me expand my perspective and find solutions. So that's the first exercise in learning how emotions feel to you and how to replace one that isn't serving you to a better serving emotion. The second exercise that I want to share with you is an exercise in pausing. And I teach the pause principle, but this is a little bit different. What I mean by this is to pause throughout your day. You pause throughout your day and you check in with yourself to see how you're feeling in that very moment. You want to pay attention to how the emotions you experience during the day feel like for you, right? How do the negative and positive emotions that you're experiencing feel like within your body? So often we live on autopilot, and it can be so easy to overlook how we're feeling, living unintentionally, reacting, resisting, or avoiding our way through life. However, if our actions are fueled by how we feel, it seems to me we would want to learn how our emotions feel inside of our bodies so that we can learn how to create the emotions we desire. So, for example, learning how gratitude feels inside of you helps you create more of it. Learning how peace feels inside of you helps you create more of it. Learning how joy feels inside of you helps you create more of it. Learning how connection feels inside of you helps you create more of it. This leads me to the third way to create more positive emotion in your life, which is that of creating a positive portfolio as suggested by Dr. Fredrickson. There are many ways to do this, but the basic idea is to gather objects and mementos that evoke a particular positive emotion. You can combine things like music, poems, photos, quotes, letters, emails, or cards that you associate with the emotion you're trying to create. Then you compile all those things together into a physical and or digital portfolio. You can repeat this process for as many positive emotions that you want to cultivate. Once you have created your portfolio, you can re-examine the contents of your desired emotional states. This exercise strengthens your ability to create and experience more positive emotion in your life. I love this idea so much. I wanted to share with you my experience that I had as I began to create my positive portfolio. So I decided to do a digital portfolio. I used an application called Trello. It's this cool platform that allows you to create digital lists where you can attach photos and links within the program. I will put a link for it in the show notes. But basically, Trello is a web-based and an app-based program, so it's easy to access on your computer and your phone. Once you've created your free account, you can create up to 10 free boards on your workspace. One of my boards that I have on my workspace is titled My Positive Portfolio. Once I've created that board, I created different lists for each of the positive emotions that I wanted to create more of in my life, such as peace, gratitude, joy, love, connection, and empowerment. Under each one of these emotions, I have included in the list things like pictures of loved ones, pictures of nature, pictures of the Savior, pictures of handwritten notes that I've taken, and links to some of my favorite music. Now, my positive portfolio is still a work in progress. And I actually think it's going to be something that's always evolving and changing depending on what's going on for me or what's inspiring to me. One thing that I thought was really cool about this platform, though, is that you can upload pictures straight from your photo library, or you can actually take a picture within the application that you've taken and captured that moment, right? And you can also cut and paste clickable links to your favorite music. All of this at your fingertips when you need a little boost of emotions like gratitude, peace, or empowerment into your day. So, for example, in my peace portfolio, I have a picture of the Savior. There are also pictures of flowers, of the mountains, sunsets. In my joy portfolio, I have pictures of my granddaughter holding up yellow daisies and a picture of me standing in front of a giant 15-plus-foot snowman. In my empowerment portfolio, I have pictures of me standing on top of the Grand Teton and hiking along the Nepali coast. I have a link to one of my favorite songs in there that inspires me to live, All In. In my connection portfolio, I have pictures of the people I love, my friends and my family. I have handwritten notes from some of the people I love deeply. I have pictures of people I've met on my life coaching journey. In my love portfolio, I have pictures of heart shapes that I found in nature and in my environment. Things like a heart-shaped rock or a heart-shaped chicken nugget or a heart-shaped meringue or a heart-shaped pile of dirt. All of this is evidence to me of the goodness of God, the love of God, and of my fellow human beings. As I've worked on this, I have been reminded of the beautiful things in my life, while at the same time being a creator of more positive emotions. Hopefully, you're getting the picture and the ideas are starting to flow. What positive emotions are you wanting to experience more in your life? If you are ready to create your positive portfolio, but you're feeling overwhelmed, remember there's no right way to do this. Just pick one positive emotion you're ready to create more of in your life. Then just start gathering. You can do it. And the final step to this process is to decide how often you want to review your positive portfolio. Is it 15 minutes a day? Is it once a week, once a month? You get to decide. The goal is to be a positive emotion creator on your way to improving your well being. Now, if you want to take what I've talked about here to a deeper level, I would love to be your coach. Just click the link in the show notes to set up a discovery call with me so that you can learn more about what it would look like to work with me as your coach. Thanks so much for listening and have a joyful week.
Thank you so much for listening. If you like what you hear, I would love it if you would share it with your friends and family and leave me a rating and review. If you'd like to learn more about what life coaching is, please schedule a free discovery call with me where we can work together through something that's causing you a problem. Just go to my website, seasons-coaching.com, and you can also find information about my Seasons of Joy one-on-one coaching program and my Seasons of Joy community. Have a joyful week, and I'll see you next time.